Welcome to the Window Wisdom Podcast, your guide to replacement windows and more. Hi, I'm Ted Kirk, and this is podcast episode number 23. Today, we're going to talk about multi-slide doors with one of our specialty vendors, EuroWall. Well, today we're joined by Levi Sare, Vice President and Director of Business Development with EuroWall. Welcome to the podcast, Levi.
Hey, Ted. Thanks for having me. I appreciate the opportunity, man.
Well, looking forward to it. We love the specialty doors that you guys offer. Can you explain a little bit about what types of doors EuroWall specializes in?
Yeah, so we really specialize in large opening fenestration solutions. So that's a fancy way of saying we do large folding doors, sliding doors, pivot doors, fixed units, and then also we do a lot of interior partition walls or all-season room type of door systems, but mainly specializing in the large format arena with our door systems.
Gotcha. And what different types of applications? Obviously, somebody has a view they want to enhance, but what are some of the different applications that your different door systems are being used for?
Yeah, so it really depends on what is the end goal of the user? Whether it's a commercial application or if it's a residential application, your end goals are all going to be different. So if we're talking to a homeowner, for instance, is your main goal to have the maximum view? Do you have a coastal lakefront view? So is the view the maximum importance of what you're trying to accomplish? We have other end users who their main importance is having maximum throughput. Being able to open up the entire space to have minimal obstacles in the way of, for parties or for foot traffic, to be able to get in and out of the application. So it really comes down to that. And then same thing with commercial. Are you trying to open up maximum throughput for, additional dining space, easier access for servers to get to one area to the other. So it really comes down to the end goal. But that's typically what we see is it about the view? Or is it about opening up the space to allow maximum throughput?
Sure. And just generally bringing the indoor and outdoor living spaces together.
Exactly.
Well, tell us a little bit about your product. We're familiar with it, but for the homeowners out there considering one of these specialty doors, what's it made out of? I know you guys manufacture in Florida and a lot of coastal applications. So obviously you have a very durable product, but can you, tell us a little bit about the finishes and, a little bit about the product itself?
Yeah, so we're a different beast from a lot of other manufacturers where you might have a national brand who kind of has a footprint already established, but they dabble in the impact market. And we go the opposite direction. We make our door systems to meet the Miami-Dade, Broward County building codes, which is the strictest building codes in the entire nation. I mean, we're talking, Hurricane Andrew came through decades ago, and that completely changed the face of how you need to build opening fenestration solutions. And we basically follow that model. We don't look to just create a product that will fill and meet those test requirements. We're looking to build a product that can maximize what the limitations are. So for instance, we build impact rated doors that can go up to 14 foot tall. Nearest competitors might make 10, 11 foot. So we're at least 3 feet on average above the nearest competitor. The same thing with, product widths. We can build sliding doors that can span up to 7 foot wide. So when we're talking about a combination of height and width, I mean, these literally translate to movable glass walls. And even though I'm talking about, these products for an impact market and for coastal applications, this really is a benefit to consumers outside of the Florida market as well, because what they're getting is a product that will exceed expectation and quality control of what they're used to outside of Florida. And, and again, at a price point that's super competitive with other manufacturers on the national level. So you're getting, a product that's geared to meet coastal applications in Miami with the same specs, just maybe not impact glass outside of the state of Florida.
Right. And I'm glad you bring that up, from a budget standpoint, this is a big investment. So typically what we find is, homeowners and businesses and owners in general, when they're looking at these type of projects, they're thinking long-term. You're
Yes.
thinking quality, doing the project right. And we've been thankful to partner with you guys on some very successful projects, both in the residential and commercial segment. So as far as the material, I know you say you're going bigger sizes. How do you get there? What kind of reinforcement and the other thing is, do you guys have thermal efficiency accounted for as well in the product?
Yeah. So really, there's not a template for what we're doing. There's not something we can kind of, hey, this is what's worked in the past. This is what we're going to get in the future. So it's really been engineering first focus for us in terms of how we come up with these door systems. And a lot of it is basically on the gauge of our aluminum. We've got a really thick gauge on all of our extrusions for the rails, the profiles, but it also goes into how these door systems will operate. So we have, a bigger, larger truck that is the upper carrier for our folding doors. Where our wheelbases for our sliding doors, each wheel set can hold 660 pounds, and there's 2 of those per panel. So it's really thinking about how can we build a door that's bigger, which is with a bigger extrusion profile, but also how are they going to operate down the road so it's easy for the end user. And again, that's through all engineering and hardware and the stainless steel components that we utilize.
That's great to hear, and I can give the testimony that, yes, the doors are a lot easier to operate when they've been engineered properly, as you guys have done. A lot of experience. I know you've changed the product or really evolved the product.
Yes.
And, really focus on quality and improvement there as well. So we appreciate that about you guys and your partnership there. So are there any other details that you'd want to give a homeowner as far as advice when they're considering investing in one of these types of projects?
Yeah, advice is really, look at the finer details and look at what, again, going back to our initial statement of what is the end use and end goal of this product. Once you've established that, you need to think about, is this new construction or is this a retrofit? Because each one of those types of applications has its own challenges. For folding doors, for instance, that is a top hung system. So meaning all the weight is carried by the heading substrate. So you need to make sure that you've got sufficient engineering in your header in order to carry the weight of those doors. Another thing to consider is, is there, for sliding doors, do you have the ability to recess your sill if you want to flush throughput for your sills, which is another avenue, and then we have to get into water infiltration. Is there the ability for us to run our water management system to get water out of the system and away from your opening? And as far as, price points go, all of our systems are very similar in the same ballpark as far as cost goes. And it just comes down to end goal, what your usage is going to be, but also, what are the conditions that we're going to be applying that application to? I
appreciate you sharing that with us. As far as the warranty of the product, we are talking long term here. What is the warranty of the EuroWall product, and how does that compare with other products out there?
So we have a 10-year warranty against manufacturing defects, which is about the industry standard as far as the best type of warranty you can get. But the difference is in our materials. So even though we have a 10-year warranty, I'll give you a good example. So the finishes that we use, it's an AMA 2605 Kynar finish. So in Florida, that is a 10-year warranty against chalking, fading, pitting, erosion, gloss retention, and it's also been salt spray tested to 4,000 hours. So what that means for Florida is great, but when we're talking about outside of Florida and the southern regions of Florida, those 10 years turn into 20. So you've got the same protection against fading, chalking, pitting, erosion, gloss retention, but now you're at a 20-year clip. So even though our products are backed by a 10-year warranty, the finishes, the applications we use will extend well beyond that 10-year warranty.
Sure.
And even going further, everything we use is stainless steel, precision sealed on ball bearings when there's ball bearings present. There's no plastic pieces that are utilized in the manufacturing of our panels, which is very dissimilar from other companies who might have some plastic components, which over time tend to break down and get brittle. Whereas everything we do is either aluminum or stainless steel.
Wow, that's tremendous. Well, what about some projects that you've worked on? Can you share with us maybe some of your favorite projects? I know we've done some really cool projects with you. So
Yeah, well, actually, I'm glad you bring it up because that is actually top of mind. Was a project we recently finished with you guys back in January. It was for the Atlanta Athletic Club. Was a PGA golf course event center area where we have our stacking system, where it's an all glass system. And we're talking spans of 70 feet on one side, 40 feet on another, and 40 feet on another. And you're talking all glass. So when you're in this event hall, this event center, doing a wedding or an event, you can basically have an entire unobstructed view of the golf course, this pristine setting, and it's just all glass. And they can open it up when the weather calls for it, keep it closed during the events. So that was a real jewel for us. We've been touting that to clients left and right and throwing your guys' name around because that was a great partnership. And that really shows you the limitations that we can exceed where other companies can't get in there. I know originally that was spec to one of our competitors and they just couldn't meet the MO of what the project was calling for. It was some creative thinking between yourself and our team. We were able to get that accomplished.
yeah, and if I remember correctly, I think we had a very large pivot door in that project as well. So it was good to see, how, different versions of your product can actually be paired together and work nicely.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the beauty of, being a custom manufacturer is, we have the ability to go outside the standard drawing box, where, we're a younger company and we are very nimble. That allows us to be creative in our space. Where a lot of other companies might be bogged down by, some red tape or some very structured policy and it has to go before a board of directors. We are able to stay nimble to the needs of our dealers like you guys, and especially that project.
Yeah. And I think one thing that maybe homeowners should really take away from this conversation is there's a lot that goes into it. This is not a DIY project. This is a very specialty project that, involves in-depth consultation, a lot of times multiple visits. So, it can really be a big deal. And I think you've made a great point several times throughout the podcast of just bringing up the point of the goal of the project, the end result. How are we going to get there? What are you really looking for to make sure that we are exceeding expectations and, delivering what people are really looking to do and how they're looking to utilize the space? Because we know when that's done correctly, it can really change people's lives.
100% agree with you. I mean, having consultative partners like you guys is invaluable to us because, like you said, when we're dealing with homeowners, you could spend an entire year just trying to study glass and understanding glass. So, I mean, the homeowner doesn't think, maybe, take into account, like you said, energy ratings earlier, or thermal performance, or sill applications, water ratings, design pressures. These are all things that we rely on you guys to support us with, and vice versa, to educate the client that it's not just throwing a door into a hole. It's a lot more involved in that process than is simply like I said, throwing a door in a hole.
Well, another thing that I'd like to bring up as we wrap up the podcast here is how important the installation is of these door products. I know, over these spans of, like you said, 70 foot, there's such a small tolerance to get things exactly right. So this is not a project that you want to go to someone with that doesn't have the experience. And I know everybody's got to start somewhere, but this is just a really an in-depth type project that you do need professional installation help. So
yeah, this is not just hanging picture frames on a wall. It's a lot more involved. In fact, we have a full solutions team that deals with requests on a daily basis, and 99% of all issues that arise are not product issues; they are install issues. It's when somebody thought that they could handle it themselves or subcontract it out to somebody who's not done it before or done something similar. But using a certified rep or dealer like you guys is invaluable to the project. Because you can have the best project in the world. If it's not installed properly, you got a bad project.
Yeah. And on those huge projects, we're very thankful that you guys actually provided some in-person support on the project as well, which, went a long way with us and, the owners of the project. So
absolutely. No, that's what partnerships are about. Is it's good when things are good, and things should still be good when things are bad. That's when you got somebody's back.
Absolutely. Well, Levi, appreciate having you on the podcast with us today. We'll wrap this episode up, but love to talk to you again at some point and hear about the new developments at EuroWall in the future.
Thanks a lot, Ted. Appreciate the time.
All right. Take care. If you're looking for a little larger door opening to bring that indoor and outdoor living space together, be sure to contact us and subscribe to hear the latest of our Window Wisdom podcast on Apple or Google Podcasts or Spotify.